Well, so now I'm gonna use a tree diagram to illustrate how this is achieved. So the JavaScript file is again within this EGP conversion project. So in which I have some template files, and it's just like the EGP file. I put it a in the template, which is called do not get. Inside I have this research doc. So I have this template called underscore RD. So the program is in a local backend. I'm going to have this app, and in this app, and this time I'm going to call it 101 update doc. All right, I feel like this name is not so good, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to call it 101. So which is to make RD document from XML. So this will be the name. All right. So the target file is going to be saved in this out, and inside there will be a document here. I don't know why it is not there. Oh yeah, it is here. So it is within this out. It has an RD targeted dot file. So so the program is also going to generate two files. One is the source document.xml, the one we just viewed before, and also it's going to create a target document XML. All right, so the way of making that is that involve a lot of editing for this XML file to clean it up. So it's somehow similar to the EGP, when I'm handling this EGP file. But this time it is a little bit different because of the special requirement here. Okay, anyway, so now let's carry on. I'm going to use this tree diagram to illustrate how the program works. So before doing that, so I'm going to so this tree file is saved in this folder, which is in this literature D3 Python folder, because this one is the most handy one to display this D3 tree diagrams. And the JSON file name for this D3 tree is called the tree XML to research document. Okay, so I also have a copy saved in this EGP conversion folder, which is this one. So with the date stamp there. All right. So now let's bring it on. So for this project, so I have a couple of parts. The first is that I'm going to have this main one. I'm going to rename this, and this one is not called 101. Is actually just called the one make RD from Excel dot JS. Yeah. Okay, so that is the main file. So so inside this main file, actually there is only one core part apart from the settings. The setting is to load the package. Oh, by the way, so this time I had a new package here. So if you go to this code, you will see that actually now I have a new package here, which is called Beautify. So this Beautify is to format the XML text. Actually, it also works to format HTML and JSON files. So this is just to make the generated source and target XML file easy to read, right? However, when I doing the final XML file to be injected into the doc file, I do not use this Beautify, because this Beautify sounds like it has a bug, which is that it's gonna also change line for this text contents within the text. So which is going to cause error because now you have excessive spaces or line breakers between the text contents. So I don't use that for the final files to be used in this doc file. I just use that to make those XML files, like the source and the target XML files, like what I have here. So these files are just for working purpose so that I can see whether or not the contents are created correctly. But for the final XML code to be used in the stock file, I'm not going to use that beautified package. Anyway, so this will be the setting part, and then there will be a main program which is called the make docx. All right. So this will be the structure part, which is the main part. We're going to go into the details later. The other is that I have this tool, so the repeatedly used modules or functions are listed here. All right. So in this file, I put all the modules within the same file. This is for the purpose of making it easier later when I migrate that into Netlify. So that I don't need to call additional modules, which is quite hairy in Netlify. All right, so the repeated use the modules for the repeated use things I will be introduced later. But basically, it is going to have two parts. The first is the modules for editing the XML, and the second part is for general purposes. So for general purposes means that the module or the macro is not for editing XML, but it is more for the general purpose. Anyway, so we're going to go to that later. All right, so let's just take a look at that. So for example, if you're going to save a file that's nothing to do with XML, so this is for the general purpose. Okay, so now let's go into this make document, which is the program. All right, so the first step is to get an XML script from the source file. So we know that so in this Excel. In this VS Code, I've already indicated that I have this template, which is in this do not get. Inside I have the research document. I have this template called rd.doc. All right. So in which we know that it is a zip file. I'm going to read the file document.xml into this program and to use it. Right, so I'm gonna read the script from the source file, and for this one I'm gonna use this function called read XML from source. All right, so and that file is actually somewhere. No, so that file is a one-shot one, so I put it in the script here. So basically, what it does is that if we want to know what it works, then we can go to the sub-steps of this one. So forget about this one now for the moment. So we're gonna show the sub-steps of that. So basically what it does is that it's gonna read an XML from the source zip, which is that document.xml, and it's gonna remove the heading of this XML, which is, the heading to indicate that it's version, XML version, whatever. And then we're going to clean up this XML. All right. So what does this cleanup do? So we're going to go to this repeated use the macros for XML editing. You see that there will be a file for clean XML. So what does it do? So we can go and show the sub-steps of this function, and we see that actually does the following. The first is that it's going to rename a tag called the table, and it rename it or whatever else, because the tag table is going to cause error when treated by jQuery. I don't know why, but I cannot use that as a tag name. So the other is that I'm going to convert the self-closing tags into not self-closing tags. Again, jQuery does not handle that well. And then I'm going to remove the comments if there are any. So, and each one it might involve different or other functions or modules, and this will be like for this one to rename the tag, it is going to call this function, which is also repeatedly used function. I'm going to put it here. Okay, so anyway, so this is the part to illustrate that how the details of these repeatedly used modules are called and what are the subsets of it. Okay, so basically, so here is that for this XML, we're going to clean it up. Then we're going to turn that into a jQuery object for the source XML, and then we're going to work from there. Right. So at the same time, we're going to save the original source XML as a file, so that like in this outer folder, I can also have the source document, which is created by this part. So with that, then I can view what are the contents and what is the structure of the original document .xml in that file. All right, so this will be the first part, which is to get the XML script and turn that into a jQuery. All right, so the next part, I'm not gonna skip the details and just go to show the big parts. So the next part is to identify the body object. So we know that in this document XML, so you're going to start with this document, and within the document there was a body part. So we're going to identify this body part and work within this body part. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is that we are going to make those components for this research document, or RD. So specifically, we're going to create the title, credential table, notes, and the research steps. And of course, there is another one, which is to set, base settings. For example, the document should be landscape in the landscape view instead of a portrait view, whatever. All right. Okay, so this is to make the components. So after that, we're gonna finalize this target XML, because this is working in a jQuery objects, and then we're gonna generate the target XML from this jQuery object, and then we're gonna clean it up and recover with the original names. So why it is important? Because so if you go to this source document, you will see that the tag name, for example, here is WPPR. So some of the letters are in uppercase. It will be the same for this attribute names. All right. But when you use the jQuery, it is going to normalize all these tag names and attribute names. All right. So the problem is that it is going to turn all the tag names into uppercase, and the attribute names into lowercase. And these with the case change, then if you go back and put that into the Word document, then these texts are not recognizable by Word. So we have to keep this the original case form. All right. So and remember that earlier we changed the tag names. Like we changed the tag names to like table to a different name, that we have to recover that. So basically, this is what it does in this part. And now with the finalized and cleaned target XML code tags, and then we're gonna make the target zip object. All right. So basically, what we're gonna do is that that we have a source zip. So within this source zip, there is a document.xml, right? So we're going to use this code to write a new document.xml and replace the old one. All right. So, but there is a trick here, is that you cannot directly, like within the source zip, if you remove the original document.xml and replace with a new one, the problem is that the whole zip object is collapsed in that by that operation, so that which is a bug by this the main zip package which I used, and it was not safe. It was that problem was not solved. It was never resolved after 10 years. So the trick of doing that is to have a clone of that. Is to, from that source zip, after those changes, just copy every file into a new zip, which is called a target zip. Okay, and that trick works. And finally, with that target zip, we're going to save it to the local as the target doc file. And that's it. So that will be the whole process.